Welcome students, we are studying Science 1, chapter number 3, Chemical Reaction and Equation. Chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is a process in which some substance undergo bond breaking and are transformed into new substances by formation of new bonds. The substances take part in chemical reaction are called reactants, whereas the substance formed as a result of chemical reaction by formation of new bonds are called products. Example, formation of carbon dioxide gas by combustion of coal in air is a chemical reaction. Here you can see coal and oxygen is the reactant, whereas carbon dioxide is the product, and here new bond is being formed between carbon and oxygen. A chemical reaction is represented by writing a chemical equation. So this is a chemical equation for this particular chemical reaction. Next example is the methane molecule combines with oxygen molecule to give carbon dioxide gas and water molecule. Here the bond of methane is being broken and new bond between carbon and oxygen and hydrogen and oxygen is formed. So this is the particular chemical equation for this chemical reaction. Chemical equation. The representation of chemical reaction in a condensed form using chemical formulae is called as the chemical equation. This is a chemical equation that you have seen in the last video when we were doing the second activity. In this picture, you can see that the color of copper sulfate from blue to faded off, and here there is the deposition of copper and zinc sulfate is being formed. So you can say that in the reactant side, the ionic bond between copper and sulfate is broken, and here in the product side, the new ionic bond between zinc and sulfate is being formed. So this is the particular chemical equation for this chemical reaction. Rules of writing chemical equation. Writing a chemical equation. First rule. In a chemical equation, the reactants are written on the left hand side while the products are on the right hand side. An arrow heading towards the product is drawn in between them. This arrow indicates the direction of the reaction. This is the reactant side and this is the product side, and this is the arrow which is indicated in between them. If the reactant or product are two or more, they are linked with plus sign in between them. So in this reaction, there are two products and two reactants. Reactants are copper sulfate and zinc. Product is zinc sulfate and copper. So we have put plus sign in between them. Third rule. The physical state of the reactant and product are also mentioned in a chemical equation. The notation G, L, S and AQ are written in the bracket. The symbol G, L, S and AQ stands for gaseous, liquid, solid and aqueous respectively. So your example is given. Copper sulfate is aqueous solution, so it is written as AQ in the bracket. Zinc is solid, so it is written as S in the bracket. Zinc sulfate is aqueous solution, so it is written as AQ in the bracket. Copper is a solid, so it is indicated as S in the bracket. Fourth rule. If the product is gaseous, instead of G, it can be indicated by an arrow pointing upward. Here you can see this arrow. If the product form is insoluble solid in the form of a precipitate, then instead of S, it can be indicated by an arrow pointing downward. You can see here. In some reaction, if heat is to be given from outside to the reaction, it is indicated by this sign. So in this reaction, here the example is been given of limestone. When you heat it, the symbol is been given and there is formation of silk lime, and here carbon dioxide gas is being given out. So here the arrow is being drawn which is pointing in the upward direction. If In any reaction, if precipitate is being formed, then you will draw this arrow which is pointing in the downward direction. Fifth rule, it is necessary to fulfill certain condition like specific temperature, pressure, catalyst, etc. to bring about some chemical reaction. These conditions are indicated below or above the arrow indicating the direction of the reaction. Here the example is given is vegetable oil, which is a liquid placed at a temperature of 60 degrees Celsius with hydrogen gas and in presence of nickel catalyst, and the product form is the vanaspati ghee, which is solid. So here the 60 degree and the nickel catalyst is been written above and below the arrow. In such way you have to represent it in a chemical equation. Sixth rule, special information or names of reactants products are written below their formulae. Your example is given, the copper react with concentrated nitric acid and product form is reddish colored poisonous nitrogen oxide gas, and here copper nitrate is being formed and water molecule. The second is with the dilute nitric acid. Here also copper nitrate is being formed, nitrogen dioxide gas is being given out and water molecule is being formed. See here difference you can see, for concentrated the water molecule will be less and for dilute the water molecule will be more. So it is dilute. In dilute case the water molecules will always be more than the concentrated. So till now I think you have cleared how to write a chemical equation and all these steps. Activity: apparatus, test tube, conical flask, balance, etc. Chemical used are sodium chloride, silver nitrate. Procedure: take sodium chloride in a conical flask and silver nitrate solution in a test tube. Tie a thread on the test tube and insert it carefully into the conical flask. Make the conical flask airtight by fitting a rubber cork. Weigh the conical flask with the help of a balance. Now tilt the conical flask and mix the solution present in the test tube with the solution in the conical flask. Weigh the conical flask again. See, in this picture the idea gets clear. The conical flask and the test tube is being inserted in that, and the solution of silver nitrate and sodium chloride, whereas the balance you can see here. What you can see from this reaction? Which changes did you find? Did any insoluble substance form? Was there any change in the weight? Observation that you observe while doing this activity. Sodium chloride NaCl reacts with silver nitrate AgNO3 to form insoluble substance, that is white precipitate of silver chloride AgCl is formed and sodium nitrate solution is also formed. There is no change in the weight. The word equation is written for the above activity as shown below. Silver nitrate reacts with sodium chloride to give silver chloride and sodium nitrate. This above word equation is then represented by the following chemical equation, that is AgNO3 aqueous solution reacts with NaCl aqueous solution of sodium chloride to give AgCl, which is white precipitate. So you can see the arrow which is pointing in downward direction, and sodium nitrate aqueous solution is being formed. So this is the chemical equation for this particular chemical reaction, and silver nitrate is also used in the Waters ink. Thank you.